Hey everybody! This week we're going to learn about the time that Jesus sent one of his disciples, Peter, fishing for money. Doesn't that sound really odd? You don't normally catch money on your fishing pole, do you? And then we're going to make a craft that represents this story. So go ahead and listen to your story. When Jesus and Peter arrived at the town of Capernaum, there were men calling the tax given to the temple each year. A tax collector asked Peter if Jesus paid his taxes. Peter said yes, but he knew that neither he nor Jesus had any money to pay them. Jesus saw that Peter was worried, asked him, "In every country, who usually pays taxes to the king, his children or his subjects?" Peter answered that it was the king's subjects who paid. Jesus replied, "Then the king's children do not pay tax. But we don't want to upset anyone. The right thing to do is to pay the tax. Row out into the sea. Cast out your fishing line and hook, and then pull up the very first fish you catch. Open its mouth, and you will find a coin. Take it and pay the tax," Jesus told Peter. Peter had been fishing all his life, and he had never caught a fish with money in its mouth, but he did exactly as Jesus had told him and caught a fish straight away. He pried open the mouth of the very first fish he caught and looked inside. Of all the fish in all the sea, on the very day he needed the money, what did Peter find? A coin of the amount needed for the temple tax was in the mouth of the fish. Just as Jesus had said, it was a miracle. Peter was able to pay the tax man. God provides for us in unexpected ways. So when Peter went out to catch this fish, he probably thought Jesus was a little crazy, right? He'd been fishing all his life, and never once had he caught a fish that had money in its mouth. Because why would a fish eat money? That seems really strange, doesn't it? But he goes out, and that's what happens. The very first fish he caught. That's so amazing, isn't it? Don't you think God had to have done that? He had to help the fish to eat the money, and then he had to have helped Peter catch that specific fish, right? That's really hard to believe that all played out perfectly like that, isn't it? This kind of helps to show us how God can affect things in the world on a daily basis. He can affect little things, he can affect big things, and he can change things. But he also helps us in ways we would never expect. Like, we would never expect to find the money we need inside a fish. We might also not expect to get help from certain people or find things we're looking for in certain places. Sometimes someone that you would never expect is who helps you the most. And then in return, you might be helping them more than they ever expected. And that's a God thing. God helps all of us to get help from places we never expect. We all find ourselves in places we never expect to be. And God's teaching us and helping us through those things. So sometimes you might not like where you are, whether it be at school or with some family members or at a sport practice or anything like that. But God's there helping us learn through those people, even if we don't expect it and we don't necessarily want to learn from those people. But it's important to remember that God is always with us in all of those things and that he has a great plan for us. So we're going to make a fish craft with a coin in his mouth this week. You're going to want a couple different colors of paper, some scissors, something to write with, preferably a marker, a penny, some googly eyes, and a glue stick. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take whatever color paper you want the fish's body to be, and you're going to fold it into thirds. A good way to do that is to fold both parts over and match up the corners, and then crease them really good. Just like that. Then I'm going to unfold it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to put some glue on the inside right here. And then I'm going to fold it over. And then I'm going to fold my paper like this. Make sure I bend it and glue it really tightly down like this. So then I should have a little tent with my paper, like this. And the opening. After I've made my tent, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to pinch this part. And I'm going to cut openings like this, all the way down the length of my paper. This is going to give my fish its scaly look on his back. And then once I've done that, I'm going to make sure it's glued down nicely again. Mine kind of peeled up. So now you can see how scaly my fish looks. Once I've done that, I'm going to cut a nice oval half circle. And this is going to be my fish's bottom jaw. So then I'm going to put some glue all the way along the strip of my fish's jaw. And I'm going to set my fish's body. Then I'm going to wrap my paper around like this. So there's my fish's bottom jaw. And then I'm going to make my fish's head. So I'm going to cut a smaller oval like this. And then I'm going to put glue along the top. And then I'm going to use this and I'm going to wrap it around the part where my fish's bottom jaw did not cover. So here is my fish's head now. And then it's time for my fish tail. So I'm going to cut my fish a nice big tail like this. Once I've done that, I'm going to take my fish's body. I'm going to take the end where my head isn't. I'm going to put some glue on the inside. And then I'm going to put some glue on the top of my tail. And I'm going to put my tail inside the opening and make sure I get it glued down. And then I'm going to press the bottom of my fish down to seal that tail inside of him. And I'm going to try to make sure the tail is glued down into the center of my fish. Sometimes that might be a little hard to get to completely pull off. But here is the main part of my fish. My fish, I think, needs some flippers in the middle. So I'm going to cut him a couple flippers. And then once I have my flippers, I'm going to glue them to the bottom of my fish so they stick out like fins. So there is my fish. I'm going to really make sure all the parts of my fish did get glued down nicely. And then I'm going to add some googly eyes onto my fish. I'm going to take two kind of big ones. And I put glue on them. And I'm going to put them down right on my fish's head. Just like this. And then, for my finishing touch, I'm going to put the penny, I'm going to glue the penny down in the fish's mouth, just like Peter found a penny. Not a penny necessarily, but a coin inside the fish. I hope you had fun making your craft this week. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you in Sunday school. Bye!